Hey guys, how are we doing tonight? How's everybody doing? Hopefully everybody's having a good evening. I have a piece of hair on my face. There we go. There we go. It was like stuck to my face there. Hello everybody. Working on the washing machine and making dinner. Wow. Multitasking if I've ever seen it. We have the earring emoji. It's like they're like two little earrings and they have like a sad or like a grumpy looking face on them. It should still be in there. If not, yeah, it should still be there. I don't think we've changed any of our emojis. I think we can actually do a couple more. So we need to think of a couple more to do, and then I'll write them down. And because we had one, I thought the other day we had one. Now I can't remember. Well, welcome on in, everybody. Is your name? Is it pronounced Michaela? Michaela, is that how you pronounce your name, Michaela? Is it Michaela? I've never seen it spelled that way, but I like it. Oh, that sounds good, Ashley. We ate at a place tonight. It's a steak. It's like a steak burger place. It's called Freddy's. I don't know if you guys have ever heard of it. I've never heard of it before, but they just put one where we live over the summer, and I think they're known for their custard, maybe, and maybe something like that. I'm not for sure, but it's called Freddy's. It's a cute little hamburger place. They'll steak burgers. But I'm not a huge steak burger fan. That's the only thing. Like, I know that it's all like really good. It's a good burger. But like, when I'm around the edges, it's like kind of crispy. I don't really like that part. I'm weird. I'm weird. I tell you, I'm the worst when it comes to like liking food. I hate everything. And then I feel so bad for Vincent because he loves everything. And so, he ends up getting like the same thing as me. And I'm like, why? Why do you do that? Get something that you want. So, hey, Isabel. And to let you guys know, Miss Jan's not feeling good tonight. So say a little prayer for her. Tell you hopefully she feels better tomorrow. Or then, she says she thinks she just has a little bug. Grandkids brought it home. Them grandkids, them dirty kids, kids with their germs. But it's the time of year to get sick. So I've been really fortunate. I've told you guys this before. I haven't been sick in years. Knock on wood. I pray that I don't get sick, but I definitely do. I did, Marianne. So I went vegetarian at one point until I met Vincent. On our first date, we went out to a restaurant that I picked. So it was my own choosing. So I did it to myself, and I ordered flatbread chicken pizza without the chicken. And for 3 months after that, I craved chicken, but I was like, don't do it. And then I gave in and I ate the chicken. I ate the flatbread. I know. I felt so bad when she said she didn't feel good. I was like, oh no, not Jan. Because that's our Jan. That's our girl. But I'm sure it's just a little temporary bug. Hopefully, those little like 24-hour get you feeling a little under the weather. Every once in a while, like I'll feel like that. Like I think my immune system's just like a little low. So I'll feel like I'm going to get sick, but then I just never do. So it's always good. Mushrooms do? Oh, I didn't know that. I'm not a big mushroom fan though. See, I'm like, if a kid will eat it, I'll eat it. That's what's my problem. But I did feel really good whenever I did vegetarian. I guess I was more vegan. I guess I didn't do eggs, fish. I think milk was like the only thing I did. I can't give up milk. That's the only thing. I like chocolate milk so much. Every night when I go off the live, you'll catch me getting me some chocolate milk. Oh no. Oh no, Ashley. Are you feeling any better now? You had hives, probably from stress. I bit my fingernails all off. So I didn't go get my nails done. I was like, I'm going to soak them and just, take care of my natural nail for a little bit. And I've been biting them. I bit them all off. I'm like, I don't know why I did that. So I'm going to go ahead and paste. I'm going to go ahead and put in the channel membership. If anyone wants to join throughout the live, I'll throw it in there. But I always like to do it in the beginning because in case I throw a link in there, I always forget to have it. So I'm glad you guys are all here. I guess DM, I guess for meat. I did hear this though, morbid fact that if you are like if you consume meat like, on like a daily like, normal people consume it, like when you pass away, you'll have like up to 5 pounds of like extra meat in your body. I heard that. That's when I became vegetarian when I heard that. I don't know how true it is, but someone told me that. They might have gotten one over on me, but I was like, I'm not eating meat anymore. They're gonna put him in rehab and then he has to go back to jail. Well, that's good. That's good. That's good news to hear. We've had a lot of stuff happening in our chat, haven't we? Well, I'm glad everyone's doing better today. Because it's been a rough week or something. I've had really good luck all week, but I have seen in the chat, you guys, and now I feel like I need to. What can I say? What's happened? I don't know. I've been really tired this week. I'll tell you that though. But it's been like a pretty great week though. So I hope I rub off on you guys. And thank you for the $10, Mary Beth. I appreciate that super sticker. Thank you. Thank you so much. Does that like, oh look, that's for me to heart it. I thought that's so cute. Oh my gosh. So there's a heart like whenever you do a super chat now. And I didn't know, or I would have pressed it last night too, because someone sent one. But if you press the heart, I thought that's what it was. I thought it was just like a heart, like for me. But if I press it, it means I love the super chat. So now I feel bad that I didn't know about that last night. Aries, speaking of which, did you see? Yeah. Their head coach is suspended for the last 3 games. I know, isn't that crazy? I saw that. I thought of you when I saw that too. Oh, thank you. She brings out my best personality. I said I'm going to do a TikTok with her. I keep forgetting how to. I got to think of something cute to do and then do it. But if you guys don't mind just taking a second and then hitting the like button, that does help the channel. Won't let me. My iPad. Someone has a YouTube crush. It's funny. Oh, he's cute, and he says my name. Tries to, and I love that. I love when kids try to say my name. It's the cutest. And I haven't had a little one like that say it in a long time. My youngest nephew is 9. Oh my gosh, my youngest. Yeah, that was really cute. Reba sent me some cute videos today. I was like, what's this video? And I hit it. And it was like, he was trying to say my name. I was like, oh, how did you say? Because I saw that you wrote me back and I meant to open up that email. Did you say 1.5 years or 3 years? I'm trying to remember what I saw in the little, I forgot you wrote me back, the little box. So let me know. Nancy moved. Yes, she moved over there. She'll be back over here probably behind me. I usually move her whenever we play her. 1.5 years. Oh, that's so cute. That's so cute. So little. Well, we'll go ahead and get started with the live. I saw a couple more people came in, so welcome on in. Hey, Grammy to Great. I like that. That's so cute. Is that your granddaughter? If it is, she looks like she's got a lot of sass, and I like that. I like the pose. Looks like a pose that I would have done at that age. If you can imagine me like now, like same personality, really, but like in a pint-sized body, that's me. I always like to have the room, I guess. So I guess that's why I'm pretty good at not public speaking, but speaking with you guys. She's spunky. I could tell. So we're going to discuss on tonight's live. We're going to go back and discuss some updates in the Gilgo Beach Rex Heuermann case. It's been a little while since we've talked about it. We just cover a lot of cases on the channel, I think. So. Oh, okay. Steve's bringing in the myths. Okay, that's a myth. It stems from the fact about the meat. Elvis had a lot of red meat in his body when he passed, but it was the result of his drug habits and not his diet. Oh, Steve. Well, Isabel is a huge Elvis fan. I saw something Elvis not too long ago, and I was thinking of you. Forget what it was now. I didn't know that. Well, I think it was a cook that told me too. So they got me to stop eating it for a while. So if you're not familiar with the, Long Island serial killer or the Gilgo Beach serial killer Rex Heuermann, I do have a full playlist available on my channel. If you just go to the main page, you'll be able to see it and find it. So let me grab my drink. I always forget to grab my drink before I come on. I actually need to throw some of these little waters in there too, because that would help me. So let's see, where are my notes at? Okay. Yeah. So I have a playlist. If you guys need to check it out, it's just on my page there. It's under, I believe, Lisk/Gilgo Beach. But this case really began with a report of a missing woman named Shannan Gilbert. She went missing after meeting a client down by Gilgo Beach back in 2010. So as they're looking for Shannan Gilbert to recover her or just find her, she's missing. It was over an 8-month period. They ended up discovering 11 bodies. So let me show you the map. I got the infamous map here. I did do a full timeline, and I was going to go back through that with you guys, but I was like, dang, that's a big timeline. It was like 40 slides or something now. So I figured everyone probably knows the case for the most part, but we'll just, make sure we get hit on a little bit there. So I remember when this first happened, I remember Shannan Gilbert's case vividly. I remember I grew up in a small town. I remember all of her pictures, she was like in New York, and she was beautiful. And I think that maybe it's probably, I don't know, something about her being like in the sex working industry that didn't even register into my mind. It was like, she's so fabulous. I just wanted to like live her life. She looked like she lived a fabulous life, but look what she was, you know what I mean? It's like, you never know. Look at pictures. But she, like, I don't know, she was always beautiful in all of her pictures, and she's had the prettiest eyes, and she was where there's like big sunglasses, and I just thought she was a really, really pretty girl. So that's what kind of got me drawn into the case. And then all of a sudden they started finding all of these people, these victims, including one Asian male that was dressed or that had clothing either with the body or was dressed in women's clothing. So we believe, all the victims were probably supposed to be female. And yes, Miss Gilbert, she said, DM said, Miss Gilbert, I hope you and your family receive justice. I know. And then the daughter ended up killing the mother. I'm just like, can anything else happen with this family? This isn't I should have blown this up a little bit more. I didn't realize it wasn't. I think if I blow it up anymore, though, it'll go out of the frame. But that's okay. I can try to. I think it's my fingers. They don't get they're not dry enough or something. For the trackpad. There we go. Look. Oh, now they are. Okay. So I was going to see how they did this. I've looked at this a million times. So 12/11, they found Melissa Barthamy. That was the first victim that they found. So when we go to listen to Nancy Grace later, yeah, I'm telling on her because I think I got one up on Nancy for once. During the episode, I'm pretty sure I heard her say, I was in the shower, so I couldn't rewind it very fast, but I heard her say the first victim they found was Shannan Gilbert. But they didn't find Shannan at first. They found, they were looking for Shannan when they found Melissa Barthamy. Then after they found Melissa on the 13th, so December 13th, they ended up finding Maureen Bernard Barnes, Megan Waterman, and Amber Lynn Costello. And those are the 4. So he's charged with 3, Melissa, Megan, and Amber. And then Maureen, he is the prime suspect in her unaliving. Which I don't know why they don't just charge him with it. Maybe they're waiting on testing to come back because really, why aren't you arresting him? Hey, Cupcake. I like that name too. It's cute. So then after they found, the people, the women down here, that was December. So then we go to March. That's when they go up here and they find, I don't know how they kind of skipped over, the Asian male, but they did. And they found Jessica Taylor, and that was on March 29th. Then they find the rest, all 3 of the rest of victims. They find them on the 4th, April 4th of 2011. And that's the Asian male, Jane Doe, number 6. And I believe, and then the female toddler. So we find out, that's Peaches and then her baby. That's terrible, Exactly, Isabel. I know. I wish there was a better word. It's not like using prostitutes either. I put clients. That's what I put in my notes. Because that's what they were doing. They're meeting a client. That's, Oh, I think it's going to go up a lot more too. Yeah, it seems like it's heading that way. But yeah, so those are the victims. I mean, in where they were. Let me see if I can. And then at the bottom it shows the distances. The furthest away was 1.43 miles. Wow. It's crazy that they were there for that, for a while before they were found. So just this summer is when they finally found their suspect, because there for a while they weren't really putting in the hours. But they found Rex Heuermann, and he's been in the Suffolk County jail ever since. He's, like I said, only charged with 3 out of these 4 women for now. But I think all in all, there's going to be a lot more that they're going to link a lot more victims to him. So after his arrest, they searched the family home for 12 days, and they found almost 300 guns at his house. And that's when we meet Asa Ellerup, his lovely wife, Asa. And I'm kind of saying that sarcastically because she looks kind of mean sometimes, all the time. But we'll go back to her about her later. We'll go over her later in the live. But to get us kind of started, I wanted to play this video that I found from Law and Crime that just came out. And it goes over the firearms that were seized, what kind of firearms they took out of the house. They also talked to Shannan Gilbert's attorney in this episode as well. And his name is John Ray. If you guys don't remember our last live, I believe it was, John Ray was on. Might have been the one before that, 2 lives ago. And they did the press conference, and he was out there, and he had 15 different pinks and purples on. He was kind of dressed to the nines. That's him. So we'll play this video here, and I'll be in the chat with you guys.
Investigation into the Long Island serial killer began as a search for a missing woman named Shannan Gilbert. The 23-year-old disappeared near Gilgo Beach back in 2010. When investigators started their search, instead of finding Shannan, they came across body after body on a strip of beach on Long Island. It began with the Gilgo 4, and then more victims, eventually totaling 10, until Shannan's remains were finally found on another beach nearby. Then, 13 years later, an arrest in the case. An architect, police say, was seemingly hiding in plain sight, named Rex Heuermann. Heuermann is accused of murdering 3 of the Gilgo 4 victims. And the question remains, is Heuermann possibly connected to Shannan Gilbert or any of the other victims? Tonight, we're diving into the latest updates and speaking with the attorney representing Shannan's family and the lawyers who are representing the accused serial killer's wife and kids. Good evening to you and welcome to Closing Arguments. I'm Julie Grand, just helping out this week, filling in for Vinny while he is off. We begin this hour in Long Island, New York, where a seemingly average architect and father named Rex Heuermann was arrested on July 13th and charged with the murders of Megan Waterman, Melissa Barthelemy, and Amber Lynn Costello. He's also the prime suspect in the death of Maureen Brainerd Barnes. Now, after his arrest, Heuermann's Massapequa Park home was searched for days. Authorities found and recovered close to 300 weapons from his house. And the Suffolk County District Attorney, Ray Tierney, spoke about that in a press conference at the conclusion of the search.
No guns were returned to the home. To my knowledge, we all of the guns that were recovered, and we're talking about 283, about approximately 279 Weapons were recovered. They're being categorized. Some may not some may not be complete weapons. Some may not be able to be defined as a weapon under New York State law. But suffice to say, there was quite a few weapons found in the house.
Now we're learning.
What would it be? He said some of the weapons we found, or how he worded it, aren't defined as weapons under the law. I mean, anything could be a weapon. I mean, even your hands could even be considered weapons. I don't remember hearing him say that before. It was a little weird.
Learning now that 41 of those 280 firearms were not registered. And according to Crime Online, the New York judge has ruled that the firearms seized from the home can now be transferred to Nassau County, where authorities could be filing some gun charges against Rex Heuermann as well. Newsday reporting that the transfer can occur after a 30-day waiting period. And during that time, defense attorneys can examine, test, and photograph those firearms. We got a great panel joining us tonight to talk all about everything in this case. In Los Angeles, senior reporter for DailyMail.com, Caitlin Becker. In New York, the attorney representing the family of Shannan Gilbert, John Ray. Also in New York, psychologist, researcher, and expert on violent crime, and the author of the book, The New Evil, Dr. Gary Bricado. Wonderful to have you all here tonight. Thank you for being here. John Ray, let me start with you. You have been an advocate for Shannan Gilbert and other victims at Gilgo Beach for a long, long time. What's the latest as you have a parallel private investigation going on while the task force is undergoing their investigation?
Well, my investigation continues with respect to the people I represent, but and the families of the victims. But as to Heuerman himself, people are calling me. Floods of information is coming into my office. I'm not doing any active, pounding of the pavement to investigate him. People are offering this evidence to me. Now, since the time that I generated 4 witnesses, 2 of whom gave affidavits as to Heuerman. This is back in September, August, September period of time into October. And since the press conference on October 18th that I held with the police commissioner, Rodney Harrison, more evidence has come in, more affidavits have been produced, and they keep coming. So There are new developments.
Right. Well, in one pertaining to Rodney Harrison, John, so he is the Suffolk County Police Commissioner, but announced his resignation sometime after that press conference that you both held together. And I remember the DA speaking out, saying that anything official on this is going to come from his office and the task force. It seemed like the police commissioner and the district attorney were not on the same page. Any ideas why Rodney Harrison is resigning?
Yeah, I'd spoken to Rodney before he resigned and had several good conversations with him. And I don't think his resignation has anything to do with the method of his investigations. Instead, he has a very fine family with a daughter who's a superstar at Wake Forest in basketball and is going on perhaps to the pros. He wants to spend time with them, and it was clear that whoever won the election or would win the election to county executive would be appointing their own new commissioner. So it was a very genteel and proper way for the commissioner, for Rodney, to bow out and stay on until a new person is appointed.
Mm-hmm. And John, I'm simplifying and paraphrasing just for the sake of time here for our discussion, but to back up, if anybody missed your news conference, you were making the announcement that you've found some connections, your team of private investigators say, with Shannan Gilbert and Rex Heuermann, right?
Yes, there was a witness who came forward, a taxicab driver, who has given an affidavit in detail that she encountered Shannan Gilbert and Rex Heuermann in a motel. She picked up Shannan from the motel after Heuermann had run out of the motel. And she interviewed Shannan at length, recognized her, and knew she had that encounter. And then a few days later, Heuerman, or might even been a few weeks later, Heuerman appeared in a threatening manner to her, to the taxi driver, with a gun and in his hand, the handgun, and made very life-threatening comments to her and scared the daylights out of her. And then she got away. But so this person has no axe to grind, no skin in the game, no need for fame, doesn't want her name revealed, not looking to write a book or anything of that sort. So she comes, not only well vetted by me for many hours before she signed the affidavit, but also by Commissioner Harrison himself. We met with her in a room in New York and talked for probably close to 2 hours.
And I would imagine that affidavit has been turned over to the task force.
Not only was it turned over, but at the press conference you heard between myself and Commissioner Harrison, it was presented to the press, and I explained in detail what it said. And the commissioner was there, and he was giving his tacit approval.
Appreciate it, John. We have a clip from that press conference. Let's listen to a little bit of what the commissioner shared.
People don't understand. When I first came into this position, I sat down with John Ray, myself and the members of the task force, to have that conversation about information that he may have, and let's make sure we're putting a dragnet out there regarding any information that's coming to us. That's why I'm going to continue my partnership with John. And if people have a reluctancy to come forward to law enforcement and they want to go to John Ray, then it's important that we take this information and then we follow forward with furthering the investigation. So it's still an ongoing investigation. So I'll leave it at that. Well, once again, is this: we have the information, we're working it, and we'll see where it leads us down the road.
Yeah, it seems like everyone is going to miss the commissioner on this investigation. Certainly seemed like when he was involved, things were really happening. Caitlin Becker, I want to go to you next, please. For the public sentiment, you've really got your finger on the pulse of this. You have since the outset, and it seemed that it was so hot and there was so much discussion in July, and we've all been kind of waiting for that other shoe to drop, especially with Maureen Brainerd Barnes, but we haven't heard a thing. Your thoughts, please.
I'm surprised we haven't gotten those additional charges for murder against Rex Heuermann for Maureen Brainerd Barnes, who was the fourth victim in the Gilgo Beach 4. It is pretty shocking that that hasn't happened, particularly because police have said both in court documents and in press conferences that the investigation into Brainerd Barnes's murder was ongoing and that they had at one point anticipated new or more additional charges to be forthcoming. So the fact that that hasn't happened yet is a little surprising. That being said, from what I understand, the state that Maureen Brainerd Barnes's body was in when they found it was the most degraded of all of them. So I think it's a lot harder to get any sort of substantial bits of physical evidence off of that at that point, which may be what's holding people up. But from a public sentiment, I think the biggest issue and question that people are having is Rex Heuermann connected to the multiple other bodies that have been found along Gilgo Beach and along this stretch of beachland in Long Island? It goes beyond those 4 initial victims. There were several others, I think maybe a total of approximately 11 that have been found there. So there are a lot of questions as to whether or not investigators are going to be able to connect Rex Heuermann to these additional bodies.
You're absolutely right, Caitlin. Absolutely right. And who knows if those firearms seized will provide any clues. We know that we saw some photographs of that.
I say this every time I see this picture. Every time I see him taking this selfie of himself in the bathroom, wherever he was, right? Could you imagine being on the receiving end of that? Like your phone vibrates and you're like, oh, who could it be? And you're like, oh, that's my client for tonight. He doesn't look imposing right here. But I bet you once he stood up next to somebody, you know, but yeah, can you imagine being on the receiving end of that? I would have been like, gotta cancel. Because all of those girls were so small. They were all so small compared to him. He's a big dude. I mean, even his wife, she doesn't look even very big. I mean, she's not like a skinny woman, but she doesn't look very tall.
That lengthy search of the Heuerman home in Massapequa Park after his arrest. Some of the items seized, just some of them, 280 firearms to be exact, 41 of those guns unregistered, 26 of them were handguns, 15 were assault weapons. They also seized 10 illegal high-capacity magazines, ammunition, gunpowder, and some survivalist gear. All right, you know, and depending on who you ask, that may or may not be a lot of guns. I've talked to people, who feel both ways about this issue. Some people are gun collectors, no big deal. But if you're suspected of being a serial killer, yeah, it is a big deal, isn't it? Dr. Gary Bricado, let me go to you next. How do the guns fit in with the serial killer profile that police are saying is at play here with Rex Heuermann?
Well, it's a little complicated because Heuermann was a collector of guns, and it's entirely possible that the collecting provided a cover for amassing an arsenal that would have been used as part of a playing out of a fantasy that would be necessary for psychosexual fulfillment in a sexually sadistic serial killer, if that is in fact what it turns out Heuermann is. If he is the offender who is responsible for these deaths, then what we have to understand is that he falls under the umbrella of a sexually sadistic serial killer, and those people have a tendency to begin in their 20s and to persistently commit those offenses over time. And this is someone who's 59. So that we'd have to picture a person over and over again going out and honing a process, playing out a process that is based completely on fantasy. And when we see there is a large arsenal of guns, we have to think, how do those guns figure into that particular fantasy? So you start imagining a person who's either using them as a control mechanism to get someone to a place where they can play out their particular fantasies, or they might have been used for the purpose of hunting a victim. For example, there have been serial killers that had large arsenals of guns that did things like have people run through the forest while running after them, or using them in other ways to play out these vile kind of fantasies. It is interesting to take that piece of information and link it with John Ray's point that he's made previously on your show about there being some references made in the cab to wanting to go out to the forest with a victim and, quote, take a long walk. And we don't know if Rex, who was a hunter, was interested in hunting only animals, or perhaps might have played out some fantasies of running after women.
Hunting people, perhaps. Oh, it's really sinister and sickening what is being alleged here, as you know, Dr. Gary.
Like, how does that work? Like, being married, and if he's going to go like hunting for victims or something, how does that work? Like, hey, babe, I'm just going to go drive around for a little bit. Like, I would be like, why? Like, I don't, if it's just that's me, I'd be like, why are you going to go drive around by yourself for? I'll come with you. I'm wondering if that part was true. Like, or if he just called, random, maybe these girls worked for like agencies or something of that sort, or like Craigslist type of like, ads like that kind of stuff. But 2010, yeah, Craigslist. Yeah, he's 6'6". Yeah, he's tall. Oh, my height. Oh, I'm 5'8". I used to hate being tall. But now I'm like, I like it. I don't mind it. But in like 6th grade, I was 5'8". I was taller than the boys and the girls. It was so bad. It was so bad. But then my mom told me, she said, when you walk into a room, you'll be the first person that everybody notices because of your height. Like, the way she said it, it just something clicked. And I was like, you're right. So then I started wearing heels. Made myself even taller. 6'9", but he's a string bean. That's usually how it is. The taller, the usually can't. It's harder to gain. Like when I was younger, I was like that. So not anymore. Oh, honest, I wish I was your height. I'm pretty tall, I think, for a girl. I mean, not about the. I'm average, I guess. Vincent's like my height. I think he's about an inch taller than me, so we're not too far off. But the next thing I wanted to go over with you guys over this case was Rex Heuermann's wife went to visit him in the jail. So when he was arrested, you know, she filed for divorce and was like, "Be done with you." She came out with her attorney saying like she has cancer and she doesn't know if her treatments will be covered now because she's going to go through this divorce. And they were talking about setting up a GoFundMe. I think they did set her up a GoFundMe. I just really don't understand and maybe I've never been married and divorced, but if you're married and then you get divorced, if you've never worked prior to that, couldn't you get on Medicaid because they base it off your income normally? I think they do anyway. But I was just wondering if she could get on something like that. Because, you know, I feel like everybody gets a GoFundMe now like for everything. Having a baby, get a GoFundMe. You know, got a new dog, start GoFundMe. Like, it's, you know, you need rent money, go start a GoFundMe. I don't know. It's just so weird. Really? Wow. His about in a year 5'4". You were kind of short. I thought you would be taller than that. I don't know why. I don't know why I did, but I did. Many groups to seek out the vulnerable. Yep, you're probably right. You want to have long legs? Oh, I have long legs. I definitely do, and I have a long torso too. I feel like I have a little like both. Vincent has little short legs. He's gonna be out there like yelling at me. He's gonna be like knocking on. They're not yelling. He never yells, but you know, he'll knock on the wall. Like I heard that. He has cute little legs. So she visits him in jail. So we'll read over this. I was wondering why she would be going to visit him in jail all of a sudden. It's been since he got arrested in July. So 4 months. I just don't know what would be different to all of a sudden change your mind to go visit. Because I would want to go visit in the beginning and be like, what did you do this and why? But that's just me. I'm thinking maybe it's because of those guns. If they're married, now that's another question. If they're married and he has guns inside the house that are not registered, could they go after her for that? Because she was living there, they're married. Whose guns are they? He could say they're hers, right? That's exactly why would she even want to see his face? I know whenever I heard she went to the jail, I was like, what? Probably wanting the house. She's probably going to go. I think she's going to go in there and say, you better take the rap for all this crap. But there she is. She reminds me of a really mean lady. I mean, she's going through a lot, I'm sure, but she doesn't look very nice. Nancy even Nancy smiles sometimes. It says the wife of alleged Gilgo Beach serial killer Rex Heuermann has visited him in jail for the first time since he was arrested on July 13th. Asa Ellerup filed for divorce 6 days after the Manhattan architect was charged with the murder of 3 sex workers. 3 women, I'm going to say that, 3 women whose bodies were among 11 found on the desolate stretch of coastline close to their Long Island home between 2010 and 2011. She is suing the FBI for damage sustained during a 12-day search of their home in Mattapiquah Park. I want to see before pictures of their home. And I'm talking like not when they bought it. Because I don't think the cops did that. I mean, other than the tub was a little much. But I don't think that they really did anything that was, you know, to be suing. She's not going to win that. Rex Heuermann is allowed the same visitations that all other inmates are entitled to. Suffolk County Jail spokesperson Victoria DiStefano told Newsday, visitors are 1 hour and visitors are allowed to embrace once at the beginning and at the end. All inmates are searched after visits. There she is there. There he is. It's just this Heuermann's charged with, the killing of Megan Waterman, Melissa Bartholomew, and Amber Lynn Costello. And their ages were 22, 24, and 27. And then he's a prime suspect in Maureen Bernard Barnes' death as well. His wife visits came days after the Suffolk County Commissioner Rodney Harris assigned additional investigators to the case of the two other women, Valerie Mack and Karen Vergata. I thought it was a good idea to grab some people from the outside to take a look at other things that maybe potentially attach themselves to Rex Heuermann. Heuermann is not contesting the divorce after being served with papers by his wife of 27 years on September 22nd. His two children, Victoria Heuermann, 26, who worked at her father's Manhattan architecture firm, and his son, Christopher Sheridan, 33, have also stayed away. I wonder if she still has a job there. Like if he owned the firm himself or if he had other partners in the firm. If it was like a one-man deal or if he had, partners. That's what happens when you live with a serial killer. Yeah, Olivia, really. I mean, like, I know your world's upside down, but I mean, not after what we've been hearing. There's witnesses coming forward saying that she was involved. Like they're not saying she's involved in the murder per se, but that Karen Vergata was there when this woman left, and that was the last time she was seen alive. And Heuermann's wife was mad because she said one of the girls, stole a clothes iron. And so she searched like the whole car and nobody found the clothes iron because nobody stole the clothes iron. I could see her being mad about a clothes iron and her misplacing it. Her lawyer, Robert Macadino, said Ellerup, 59, risked losing health coverage for her breast and skin cancer since filing for divorce from her husband. The source of her health insurance was from her husband's employment, so that will no longer be available to her to treat the cancer. Cancer drugs can be expensive. How is she going to pay for treatment? Can't she shut down, like freeze those bank accounts and say, you're not getting any of this money and just take all of his money? I mean, really? If he did this, couldn't she do that? Like, freeze the accounts. He can't get in there anyway. Probably. You might have some of your part right. Benny Warren asked after shades of me, you want to puke. Isn't that strange, Marianne? Like, yeah, and who's going to steal a damn clothes iron? Like, where are they going to put it? I mean, really, like girls that are in this field of this line of work, normally they're wearing next to nothing, something a little risque, a little sexy. They're not really carrying around like a tote bag where they could be throwing a full-blown item in there, like an iron or something big. Normally they have like a little bag with just like a couple little things they need. And that's it. Not like it's a suitcase or rolling in there. It's very strange. Like, how did she steal the iron? And then she made him get out of the car so she could go look for the iron. Let me see if there's anything else down here. I think there was. Ellerup, whose hair was found at one of the crime scenes, but it's not believed to be an accomplice, attended Farmingdale High School and married briefly in her 20s, divorcing in early 1990s. More than 250 guns were recovered by law enforcement officers from the home where police believe at least one of the murders took place and where the couple had lived since 94. She said she had left without a bed to sleep, and after detectives tore apart the family home. I woke up in the middle of the night shivering, she said, adding that her two adult children were suffering from anxiety. My children cry themselves to sleep. I mean, they're not children, they're grown adults, but they're my children. And my son has developmental disabilities and he cried himself to sleep. Look, I don't want to walk down the street. I heard what people said about us. I heard it. She didn't walk down no damn street before this. She wasn't walking around because she made a comment. We have to sit outside because we can't even sit inside of our house because of the mess. She wasn't walking around the block. I don't believe that. I don't think she wanted to. Now she's saying she can't. I heard the other people on the neighborhood, they want the house bulldozed. I think they wanted the house bulldozed way before Rex Heuermann was the prime suspect in, maybe up to 11 homicides. Because they were talking about the house being like the front porch was being like held up by plywood or something. I saw that Dateline was going to do a show on that. I saw that. So no one ended up taking the Iron Dam. I don't know if she ever found it because it wasn't in the car. She probably found it like a few minutes after those people left, and she was probably like, you better not say nothing. Gave him the look. Couldn't imagine. Heuermann denied the 3 murders he has been charged with, and Harris described the investigation into the murders of Mack and Vergata as a work in progress. Mack, 24, vanished from her New Jersey home in the summer of 2000. She was last known to be living in Philadelphia. That's where she worked as an escort under the name Melissa Taylor. Her partial skeletal remains were discovered in a wooded area in Manorville in September 2000. Initially, she was known as Jane Doe number 6. Harris said the task force is also trying to determine how the dismembered body of Vergata 34 was found on Fire Island in April 1996. Like Mack, Vergata was never reported missing. She was previously referred to as Jane Doe number 7. That's so sad. Like, weren't even reported missing, At the time of her disappearance, she was thought to have been working as an escort. The 34-year-old disappeared around Valentine's Day, 1996. 2 months later, her legs were found in a plastic bag at a park near Fire Island's Blue Point Beach. Her skull was recovered over a decade later in April 2011 by Ocean Parkway. Vergata's remains were linked by DNA analysis that July. Thanks to advancements in genetic genealogy, she was identified in October 2022. Thank goodness for genetic genealogy. All of Heuermann's alleged victims worked as escorts who advertised themselves on Craigslist. Their remains were found on a stretch of Gilgo Beach in December 2010, all wrapped in camouflage burlap and bound with belts or red tape. DNA on the burlap used to transport Waterman's body was compared to samples taken from a pizza crust and napkin that were discarded outside Heuermann's Manhattan architectural firm. The sample boasted a 99.96% match. Before they could even think to test his DNA, cops was turned onto his trail after a witness linked Heuermann's Chevrolet Avalanche to Costello's murder. The car then linked Heuermann's cell phone records, which tied him to locations related to the murders. Because he was a dummy. They're all dumb. Cops accused Heuermann of using Barthelme's, I can't ever say her last name right. I know there's another syllable in there. Barthelme's phone to make taunting phone calls to her family from the comfort of his office. Yeah, he was calling her sister, saying, how does it feel that you'll never see your sister again? Things like that. I couldn't imagine that. He most recently appeared in court on September 27th for a short status hearing on his upcoming trial for the murders of Waterman, Barthélemy, and Costello. When asked by the judge if he'd be able to review case evidence in his cell, Heuermann responded in the affirmative, and he said he'd been averaging 2 to 3 hours of reviewing. He did not speak a word otherwise. His next court appearance is scheduled for Wednesday. Let me see if they usually update this. So, I'm wondering if it's really for next Wednesday. Because I know they had one coming, but I don't. This is updated. Okay, we'll have to see. Let me see about this. I don't want to okay. I wanted to read this one to you, but I wanted to make sure that it didn't sometimes if it's the same kind of article, they'll go over the same thing twice. And I didn't want to do that to you guys. But I wanted to tell you about the human remains that were found. They were discovered in Long Island, miles from where Gilgo Beach serial killer suspect Rex Heuermann lived. So I'll read this and then I'm going to show you on a map. And you guys tell me if you think so. Or actually, it tells you right here in this thing. I'll go ahead and show you. So where did I put it? Oh, here it is. Okay. So I went from Mataspicua Park, that's where he lives, to Sunken Meadow State Park, because that's where the remains were found. And to get there, it would take approximately 29 minutes. Now that route has tolls. So if he went through a toll, I don't know if they know the exact date. Probably not, but they could go back to the tolls and check to see if his car went through any of the tolls. Sorry, my eye is like it's itching or something. There we go. I'll read this now to you guys. I wanted to show you a little bit of where it was though. So I don't know, like, let me go back to that. So I don't know if, okay. So if you're down here in Massapequa Park where he lives, you could just go straight down here to Gilgo. Like Gilgo Beach looks so much closer than if you were to go all the way up. But maybe at that point, too many bodies were dumped there. So new spot. Just like in the beginning of this case, there were people that everyone was dismembered. And then, now the victims that he is connected to, which I think it's all the same person, they were in camouflage burlap bags. It's almost like the person, escalates a little bit more. They're like, okay, well, we don't need to dismember them anymore because nobody's finding them. So let's just stuff them in a burlap bag. No one will see it. Oh, I can't imagine that either. Yeah. His hairdo reminds me of Bozo. I loved that show growing up. Can you imagine them though? Like him and Asa as a couple. They were probably so awkward. Just an awkward couple. It looks like she doesn't seem very nice in the videos that we've seen her in. She seems a little moody, which I guess I'd understand if there's a bunch of people on my front step too. But I mean, you're married for 27 years. That's crazy. That's a long time. I would just be like, I don't know. I don't know how you don't know. I don't know something. Something's up, like. So no, he wasn't. Oh, we don't know. But they probably would have tested that. Isabel, that's a good thing to ask though. We never thought of that. I think though she had her baby with her that night and it was one of those things where she couldn't get a babysitter and she was like, okay, I can go with you because she thought it would just be really quick. But I got to bring my baby. And I think that's why the baby was there, bullying. Yeah. So Steph, that's what I'm saying. They're saying like the wife was out of town. That's because at first I was like, oh, she's, she's out of town. But then the more I thought about it too, I was like, a belt. Like I don't have a belt handy, but okay. So if you have a belt, they're saying that her hair was intertwined in the belt. You would think if you took the belt from your home to Gilgo or wherever you went and you put it on someone, by the time that it transferred to all those different places, that piece of hair would have fallen off. It's very strange that on 3 bodies, her hair's there. Why is your hair there? Like, that's weird. I mean, my hair goes everywhere, but I think if you're walking with a belt, it would come off of the belt. It just doesn't, seem like that doesn't make sense, Yeah, the hair would fall. Extreme state of denial. Yeah, could be. I would be. Shoot. I mean, but that's because, Vincent. But I mean, I could really see that if you're with someone 27 years, but how would you not know something's just like a little weird when I guess if you're going out of town, I don't know, just something. You call and he don't answer because he's busy with an escort, busy killing someone. I would be like, where have you been? Oh, my phone was dead, honey. See, I don't believe that. I'd be like, that ain't gonna work over here. So male remains were found. So they were found up though, like, where I was showing you guys on the map. It says male human remains, and Nancy will go over this too. We'll listen to her next. Have been discovered at a park in Suffolk County, Long Island, 25 miles from where Gilgo Beach serial killer Rex Heuermann lived. On Monday, state police were called to investigate a report of a body found around 1 p.m. at the Sunken Meadow State Park in Kings Park, according to the New York State Police. The 1,287 acre park, which is located in the town of Smithtown, is approximately a 30-minute drive from Heuermann's home. The 59-year-old married father of 2 is currently being held at Suffolk County Prison. In July, he was charged, with the killings. The New York State Police Bureau of Criminal Investigation and Forensic Identification Unit responded to the scene to investigate. It remains unclear at this time if the death is criminal in nature, as few details have been released. Further information on the remains is pending examination by the Suffolk County Medical Examiner's Office. But they're already linking them to him. Very weird. All 3 women Heuerman is accused of murdering were found in 2010 wrapped in burlap off of Ocean Parkway near Gilgo State Park, just minutes from his home. Authorities said he's also the prime suspect in the killing of Maureen Bernard Barnes. As of last month, he is no longer being investigated in connection with the 1989 murder of sex worker Carmen Vargas. I didn't know that. Actually. So, okay, he's not being, okay. Heuerman's dramatic arrest outside his office in Manhattan's 5th Avenue on July 13th came as a result of a decade-long hunt for the infamous Gilgo Beach serial killer. He counted Nike, American Airlines, and Target as clients during his 3-decade architecture career, while allegedly also strangling 3 women and taunting their family with phone calls often made from his New York office. I can't even put that into words how sick that is. The first set of remains were found along the strip of coastline in December 2010 when the body of Bartholomew, 24, was discovered during a search for another missing woman, Shannan Gilbert, 23. And it's their ages were almost 23, 24, 25, 26, 27, I think. Let me see. Let me go double check. Because I think. Okay, so Megan was 22. Shannan Gilbert, 23. Melissa, 24. Maureen, 25. No, 26, but then Amber was 27. That's weird. That is weird. 1 each year. The ages. Is that a super weird coincidence, or is this something we don't know? That's weird. Okay, yeah. That is. And they all had light-colored eyes too. 2 days later, cops realized they may have a manic serial killer on their hands when 3 additional sets of remains were discovered. Those of Bernard Barnes, Costello, and Waterman. The bodies were found along a half-mile stretch on Gilgo Beach, where several other bodies have been found, some of which police are still determining if Heuerman had anything to do with. The 3 women he has been charged with killing and the one he's suspected of murdering were all found wrapped in camouflage burlap and worked as escorts on Craigslist. The case has drawn immense public attention. The mystery attracted national headlines for many years, and the unsolved killings were the subject of a 2020 Netflix film, Lost Girls. Determining who killed them and why has vexed a slew of seasoned homicide detectives through several changes in police leadership. Wanted to let you know. Forgot about that part. Old girl, Aza. Yeah, she's working with Peacock on some sort of documentary. What? Huh? Why if my husband, she's all over the place, because if my husband was accused of this, she's in her front yard saying she has no idea, nothing's happening. Now we're getting witnesses saying she does know what was going on, and now she's going to Peacock doing a documentary. We ain't even at trial yet. He's only been to a couple court hearings. She threw him under the bus. She saw money. Suffolk County, so don't be donating to that GoFundMe. She's probably getting paid. Suffolk County, I'm just kidding. Commissioner Rodney Harrison formed a Gilgo Beach task force that includes investigators from the FBI as well as state and local police departments aimed at solving the case. Heuerman's next court date is scheduled for November 15th. That is Wednesday. The New York State Police Department did not respond to Daily Mail. Okay, well, Wednesday he's going to go to court. We'll see. So yeah, some sort of documentary, I guess. Yeah, Isabel, they did. He had property in Vegas, and he had timeshares. Oh, she owes taxes too. Well, shoot. She better start paying. Doing it for the money. Yeah. Yeah, Brenda. She's probably like, man, bye. Bye, boy, bye. I mean, I don't know. It's just weird to me. Stop talking, Nancy. Wasn't ready for her yet. Look, I always get her on a good spot. She's going to, one of these days, she will watch my channel and she'll say, Tanya, why do you pause me like that? And I'll be like, Nancy, that's just your face. It's just your face, Nancy. I knew I was going to do that as soon as I went out of that window. But she just goes over the new stuff, like kind of like stuff that we were talking about today. Yeah, he had houses in several states. And then his brother has a lot of property in like North Carolina, South Carolina. No, I haven't seen the Dateline one. I know that they're doing one on Gilgo this weekend, though, I think. Or like this, I think that's what they said. I saw that stuff. No pizza at the commissary. He should have just ate the crust. That's the best part of the pizza. I love the crust. It's the only part of the pizza I truly love. Like, I love pizza, but I love the pizza crust. I'm a bread person. It is scary to think of how many there could be. There could be so many more. So I'll play Nancy here. She looks excellent today. I'm going to move her so she's over here behind me. I like it when she's looks over my shoulder. But if you guys don't mind just taking a second, hit the like button. If you guys enjoy the content, we do cover a lot of cases on this channel. If that's what you're into, don't forget to subscribe and hit the bell. That way you're alerted for all notifications. I've been telling you guys, I'm so bad at telling you guys this. We are eventually going to start doing our lives at 7:15 p.m. It just seems like I've been busy like the last couple of nights. So it's been kind of fluctuating between like 7:15 and 8:15. So we'll get the set time down. But I figured with the sun going down, I would get tired sooner. But I feel like I'm still going strong with I'm up later at night. And I mean, I'm up during the day too. So I don't know. I don't know when I sleep. I don't know when I sleep. But thank you guys all for being here. I appreciate that. Yeah. What is it? Yeah, I'll try to find you the link for the Dateline one. If that's the one you're talking about. Light cheese. Cheryl, you're my girl. I'm not a cheese person. Don't come for me. Don't cancel me for that. But we get light cheese on ours too. So okay, I'm gonna play her. I'll turn it up a little bit at a time so it doesn't hurt your ears.
Called Long Island serial killer in the news again. This as yet another body emerges. Is that body linked in any way to the Heuerman case? In the midst of a new body being found just minutes from Heuerman's home, now 4 witnesses, seemingly impartial witnesses, come forward identifying Rex Heuerman. I'm Nancy Grace. This is Crime Stories. Thanks for being with us here at Crime Stories and on Sirius XM 111. First of all, take a listen to this.
Human remains have been found in a wooded area not more than a 30-minute drive from suspected Gilgo Beach serial killer Rex Heuerman's home. The body, identified as 20-year-old Yoneli Ramos Moreno, was discovered in Sunken Meadow State Park on Long Island by park goers. The remains were along a trail at the eastern end of the park, which runs along Long Island's North Shore. At least 6 victims of the Long Island serial killer have been found on Gilgo Beach, which is along Long Island's South Shore. Moreno's death has been ruled a homicide.
Interesting. This is a young male victim, Yoneli Moreno, discovered in Sunken Meadow State Park, just minutes away from Rex Heuerman's home. But it's my understanding that this is a more recent killing, or is it? Will it somehow be connected to Rex Heuerman? It's just minutes from his home. We know he's implicated in the murders of many other young women and possibly one Asian male found near those female dead bodies. But in the midst,
I always get it. I try to like put it in the chat, but I don't think it'll come. Like, your guys are probably like, what? Nancy's talking different. And I know this because I do this sometimes. Like when I was having all that, I still am having all that dental stuff done. Like I would move my tongue a different way so that it wouldn't catch on my, I had a filling put in that they didn't do right. so it wouldn't catch on it. And it looks like she's almost like she's got like pain or something, but she sounds different, like she's almost doing something different. And I caught that, so I wanted to see if you guys caught that or not.
Of investigating a new dead body near Rex Heuermann's home, 4 witnesses have now emerged. Listen to the Gilbert family lawyer, attorney John Ray.
This is a witness who has every reason to have no bias, no interest in the case whatsoever. She is not a sex worker. And instead, back in the 90s, in the 1990s, she was what is known then and now as a swinger. And they would go to certain sex clubs in New York City where they would switch partners with other people of like kind. One of the most important places that they would go was called La Trapeze on West 27th Street in New York, right near Rex Heuermann's office.
Okay, this is significant because this club, La Trapeze, is very close to Rex Heuermann's architectural office in Manhattan. And we know that a lot of the activity that is linking Heuermann back to the dead women, the sex workers, occur at his office. Remember, his wife, children are living in their home on Long Island. He catches very often the Long Island Railroad right there at Penn Station near his office to go home back and forth. And it's that hub, isn't it? Joining me, an all-star panel, but first to Mary Murphy, investigative reporter, PIX Pix 11, also host of Hunt, inside the 13-year search for the Gilgo Beach killer, and needless to say, recipient of many Emmy awards. Mary, a lot of the cell phone pings, a lot of the positioning of the suspected Long Island serial killer Rex Heuermann happens around his office. Even the pizza that was discarded, the food and drink that was later used to get DNA was near his office. He was arrested near his office. La Trapeze is near his office. So obviously, if you look at his activity psychologically, he uses his office as basically his bat cave.
That's a good way of putting it. There was a box of cell phone pings located right near his office, right near Penn Station. And some of the victims who were killed in the Gilgo Beach case, their cell phones pinged near Penn Station and very close to his office. And we're told that one of the victims whose names emerged after his arrest, Karen Brigada, that she was a streetwalker in Midtown.
So regarding the newest thing, this witness that comes forward who goes to a swingers club where, you swap partners, La Trapeze on West 27. How close is that to Heuermann's Manhattan architectural office?
I would say it's only about 7 or 8 blocks away.
Guys, that is maybe a 10-minute walk. Maybe, if you're catching red lights. A 10-minute walk from his office. His office is often the hub of his activity. Joining me also, in addition to Mary Murphy, investigative reporter at Pix 11, Robin Dreek, joining us out of Virginia, behavioral expert, former FBI special agent and chief of the FBI Counterintelligence Behavioral Analysis Program. And I love this book. His book is Sizing People Up, a veteran FBI agent's manual for behavior prediction. Man, we need you now, Dreek, because you can put words to what I'm trying to express. Okay, let's go with Scott Peterson. Scott Peterson killed Lacey, his wife, we believe, in their home on Covina in Modesto. That was his lair. What was his other lair? His office, which had basically a storage area where he kept his secret boat, where he made cement, let me just say, weights, we believe, to weigh her body down. What was his other lair? Where he would go fishing, his fishing hole, where her body was discovered and then later found not far away when it came up from the bottom of the water. I'm trying to verbalize that killers use the area with which they are familiar. You want to get rid of a dead body? Think about it. Everybody on the panel, think. Where would you go to get rid of a dead body? You know where I would go? Seven Bridges in South Bibb County. It's swamp. And there's 7 bridges that go over it to link South Bibb County to the city of Macon. Why? Because I know where it is. How can you get rid of a dead body in a place you've never heard of? Explain what I'm saying, Jarik, because I believe his hub of activity is going to be not just his home in Long Island and Gilgo Beach, where bodies were disposed of, but his office right by this nightclub.
Yeah, 100%, Nancy. And it comes down to what you said, feeling comfortable and creating what he's established as a behavior arc of where he feels safe operating because he's got reps in those areas. And when we're dumping bodies in places, also when you're doing it, you got to feel safe in that area with the law enforcement in that area. So I think a lot of these things are actually putting a bigger point on law enforcement and what they saw and didn't see in questions there when it comes to the investigation. So yeah, he's clearly displayed this behavior arc of feeling safe, operating in a secretive way from public view.
You are hearing high-profile lawyer John Ray. He is representing the family of Shannan Gilbert. Now, you remember Shannan Gilbert, whose body was found out on Gilgo. At first, everybody said, well, yeah, she's not really connected. This is just a coincidence. Who could buy that her body is near all the other women's bodies that are connected to Heuerman, and she just happened to be dead right there? Okay, now entering La Trapeze, the bar for swingers. What does that have to do with Heuerman? Listen.
Sometimes several hundred people at a time would be involved in this place. Its heyday was right at the time that Karen Vergata is involved in this case. In this situation, this particular woman was dating a police officer from New York City who was in narcotics, a detective, and they would go to these switchy clubs, these swapping clubs. At or about Valentine's Day of 1996, the couple went to La Trapeze, and I think it was on the wall at La Trapeze where an advertisement was placed to go to a house in Massapequa Park for partying, for switching, for swapping.
And isn't it true, Mary Murphy, that is where Rex Heuerman lived with his wife?
Yes, Rex Heuerman lived there and actually was raised there. He spent his whole life in Massapequa Park.
Okay, so this witness, who was a swinger, goes to La Trapeze. So what? Wait for it. Listen.
She went with her boyfriend out to Long Island. But before they went, her boyfriend picked up a woman in New York, in the city, and she was a sex worker. They went to Massapequa Park. They ended up going to Rex Heuerman's house. In the house was the wife of Rex Heuerman and Rex Heuerman and the other girl. The other girl who we believe to be Karen Vergata. This girl disappears downstairs at the house. Rex Heuerman disappears. And according to our witness and other witnesses, when men are swingers, very often they switch sexually. They go back and forth between male and female. And so Heuerman leaves the main floor and disappears either into another bedroom or downstairs. The witness talks to Rex's wife.
Okay, whoa. We're hearing all along the wife knew nothing about what was going on. But according to this witness, who is not a sex worker, wasn't getting paid by anybody, wasn't answering to a John, says that Rex Heuerman's wife was part of this. Guys, this is a bombshell in this case. Listen.
As they're leaving, the witness points out that she could see in the window, looking out, the girl that had come with them. And she says to her driver, her partner, "What are we doing? Are we taking her?" And the partner says, "Don't worry. They're just playing a game. She stays there. No problem." With that, the girl runs out of the house naked and is running in front of the garage. And now the witness says, "Hey, shouldn't we be taking her? Something's wrong here." And the driver tells her, "Nah, they're just playing a game. Leave it." And they leave.
They leave the girl there. We're talking about Karen Vergata, one of the dead women. And this is how it ends. Listen.
And she never hears about the incident again. She distinctly remembers Heuerman. She also had intercourse with Heuerman that same day. On TV, she sees the picture of Karen Vergata, and she recognizes her and said, "That's her." And she recognizes Rex Heuerman. And so she comes forward. I interview her at great length. Detectives interview her. I interviewed her for a total of 9 hours, and I found her story to be credible.
Joining us right now, the man you've been hearing, high-profile lawyer John Ray. You can find him at johnraylaw.net, and he is the chosen attorney for the family of Shannan Gilbert. John Ray, thank you for being with us.
Good morning. Thank you.
Wow. This is a huge bombshell in the Rex Heuermann case, because before I was thinking, John, you've tried a lot of cases, and I love nothing more than DNA, deoxyribonucleic acid, which we have in this case. Don't have much of it, but we have it. And we have the wife's hair on some, connected to some of the dead bodies. We've got the defendant, Rex Heuermann's hair, connected to some of the bodies.
How's Asa going to say that's not her hair? That's what I don't. That's the only thing that ever since the beginning, I'm like, okay, her hair is on the bodies, but they're saying she's out of town. But now they have more people that are in more bodies. So was she out of town all the time? And what does she do out of town? Does anyone know what she did for work? Was it for work, or she always seemed to be out of town? When we read the arrest affidavit, it was like, oh, Asa had nothing to do with this because she was out of town. But it's like, well, was she always out of town? Here, I'll put my email in. Oh, whoops, I didn't mean to stop sharing the screen. I meant to just put my email in here. It should pop up. Thank you, DM, for that. Sorry that I think it's because I think that you have to be the channel operator or a mod to do links in the chat. Maybe, I don't know. You think I would know after over a year doing this, but I don't. I still don't. Yeah, she still doesn't work. And well, I just think that this woman knew something. It wasn't like she was out of the home. Like you said, Cheryl, it's like she wasn't out of the home. What was she been doing? In 27 years with somebody? I mean, I would hope that you would know pretty much everything about that person. The way that down to the way that they go to the bathroom. Like, are you going to use this bathroom or that bathroom? You know what I mean? Like those little things. You would think you would know. Oh, okay. Thanks, Diego. He said you have to be in modern admin. That's what I thought. That makes sense now. That's why someone was like, mod me so I can drop a link. Okay, I got it. I'm so bad at this stuff sometimes. But I think that Asa knew a little bit more. Now, the kids, I don't know. Now, and that's another thing. We've seen them all together. Like I know that her son lived with them. I'm assuming that he lived with them. He has developmental, disabilities. I know that he's 36. I'm not sure how broad they are, but he does live at home. Now I'm wondering if the daughter still lived at home, his daughter that worked in the same office as him, and if she suspected anything, because they're saying that he was calling the victims' families while he was at work. it's just weird that she never, walked in on that weird conversation, or nothing ever happened. No one saw nothing. I don't know. It's just very weird. Very weird.
But DNA, as you well know, can be argued away. That it was a transfer, that it was an accident, that blah, 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 blah. But when you combine DNA with an eyewitness that says, I had sex with Heuerman, I know what he looks like, and I left Karen Vergata, God help me, there that night, and she was never seen alive again. A witness willing to come forward and say, I was a swinger. Who wants to admit that on the stand? Ready to say that on the stand? To me, when you have to put the devil in jail, sometimes you got to go to hell to get your witness. Who do you think Heuerman's hanging out with? Nuns and priests and virgins? No. That, to me, gives this witness, your witness, more credibility, John Ray.
Well, you should also know that it's odd why they brought Karen with them if it was going to be a swapping between couples, and that now is explained fully and consistently through Mrs. Ellerup's lawyer, Robert Macedonio. He went on the television recently and said that there's no way that John Ray's witness can be correct because his client, Mrs. Ellerup, Heuerman's wife, was pregnant at the time, so she would never have had sex. And that's perfectly. First of all, we know you can have sex if you're pregnant.
Okay, hold on, John Ray. I got to write this down. This is significant. Hold on. So you're saying it's a couple swinging party, so why do you bring a sex worker with you when the women are going to be swinging and the men, they don't need a fifth wheel? But you're saying Ellerup was pregnant at the time and they needed that extra female. Am I getting this right?
There you are.
Oh, Ellerup was the one that was pregnant. Okay, I thought she meant one of the other people were pregnant. Okay, because I was listening to this earlier and I listened to the podcast version. So give you a little breakdown here, because I was wondering why they picked up Karen Vergata, because if it was a swinging party, you only need 4 people. Like, I was like, why'd they bring I kind of thought that, like, why would they have her? But they're saying because Asa was pregnant, or I guess, or something, or one of them was pregnant at the time. So they ended up bringing the extra girl to partake in her place. Huh. Very, very telling. Let's listen to what she'll say it again too.
You are, but more importantly, it comes from the horse's mouth. It's Macedonio, who's the lawyer for Mrs. Ellerup, who posits that, who states that on national television. And so we also have that fact consistent with the witness coming forward and saying that when she got there, Mrs. Ellerup did not want to have sex and had turned away. The witness thought it was because the witness was African American, but it turns out Macedonio gave us the correct explanation, which is that she was pregnant, didn't want to have sex. And by the way, that also explains why they picked up Karen Vergata in the first place, to bring her along to be the partner. And we couldn't figure that out before we knew that about the pregnancy. So it's also very likely.
Sorry, I keep pausing it, but wouldn't it have been just easier if this was for Rex, because Asa was pregnant and she was trying to help her man? Wouldn't it have been easier to just go find a prostitute instead of getting a pair of swingers, having them go get a girl? Yeah, he was making that a little difficult, wasn't he? That's pretty difficult. You would think maybe he had to play stupid, but they did have a sign up in that bar. And that's how they found them. So I'm wondering if he put that sign up in that bar when she was like pregnant or something, just to try to get people to come over so that he could do his thing. No judgment here, but not with that. No, Rex Heuermann. I'm judging him. Yeah.
Likely that the detective swapper who was driving the car to go there previously knew Heuerman that they already had a relationship. In
You
order
mean
to arrive
as in
at this,
had swap partners before?
yes. In
Okay,
order to
hold on.
arrive
John Ray, I'm not going to
yeah,
ask you the name, but do you
sure,
know who the cop is?
I do.
It's not out there yet, right?
Correct.
Well, he better expect a big fat subpoena coming his way. It ain't going to stay quiet for long. Guys, with me is John Ray, the lawyer for Shannan Gilbert's family. And now you see why. He has interviewed this woman who is not a sex worker, who has come forward and admitted, yeah, I was a swinger. I went to La Trapeze Club. A lot of swingers go there. We all went to a party in Massapequa, and this is what happened. I slept. I had sex with Heuerman. That's like eating a dirt sandwich to have to admit that. But in my mind, that adds to her credibility. Dr. Joni Johnson is with us, very well-known forensic psychologist and private investigator. Dr. Johnson performs risk threat assessments on violent offenders, and she's the author of Serial Killers, 101 Questions True Crime Fans Ask. You can find Dr. Johnson at drjonijohnson.com. Dr. Johnson, let me give you a good example. Okay, just recently we hear from that POC, Jorn van der Sloot, and he gives his confession, and I'm saying that with quotes. I'll believe one line out of his confession: I killed Natalie. The rest he fabricates to make himself look not as bad as he really is. He's the devil straight from hell. Dr. Joni, when you are assessing, as you do, statements, witnesses, defendants, victims, to me, it enhances this witness's credibility that she puts it out there. She's not holding back. She's not lying. I was a swinger. I went to this club. I went to this swingers party in Massapequa. I slept with Rex Heuermann, and I left Karen Vergata there. What do you make of it?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I mean, when you're doing any kind of forensic or legal investigation or assessment, you are evaluating the credibility of the witness. And that includes looking at things like, what do they have to gain? What do they have to lose? Is the evidence consistent with what they're telling me? Are they willing to say things that might not put them in a favorable light? And all the things that you're talking about certainly indicate that this witness is willing to put herself in a light that other people might question or criticize. And so those are things that definitely add to her credibility.
Guys, the bodies are piling up. They're all pointing toward Rex Heuermann. And now 4 witnesses emerge. And I'll deal with the new discovery of another dead body there at Sunken Meadows State Park, just minutes from Heuermann's home in just a moment. I'm going to circle back to that. But these 4 witnesses, I can't tell you how important this is to the Long Island serial killer case. DNA, while its validity is hard to attack, its placement can sometimes be very easy attack. Do I have to say O.J. Simpson? Uh-oh, Jackie her head just spun around. I have to say O.J. Simpson, and this is why. His bloody socks with the victim's blood on them were in his home.
Right beside his bed.
His wife and
Right
Ron
beside his
Goldman
bed.
were found murdered. But it was artfully argued at trial that the DNA had been planted and placed. Do I believe that? No, I don't believe that. Was it successfully argued? Yes, it was. The placement of the DNA. Why was it there? And a jury believed it. So while you can't really argue with the validity of DNA, you can argue with, was it contaminated? Was there a mistake at the crime scene or the crime lab? Was it planned? Just so many ways you can attack its placement. These eyewitnesses make all the difference in this case. We only know about a few of the victims. How many more women have been murdered by Rex Heuermann? And now let's get to it without any further pontificating on my part. Take a listen again to our friend John Ray, witness number 2. Take a listen to our cut 218.
The second witness who's come forward. This woman
She's not involved in any sexual activities whatsoever. She has nothing to gain by coming forward. She's not looking for a book or money or the usual things that you're hearing about out there. None of that. But she came forward because she's very disturbed about what she knows after she also saw Rex Heuermann on television and Shannan Gilbert. And here's her story. She is a banker by day, and at night she worked extra in Suffolk County as a taxi driver to take care of her family. It was a one-parent family.
And
as a taxi driver, she is called from her dispatcher to go to the Sayville Motor Lodge on Sunrise Highway. And there's a girl awaiting her who's locked in a bathroom and will come out if she flashes her lights and beeps the horn. And she goes there and does that several times. It doesn't work. But then suddenly a giant man who fits the description of Rex Heuermann comes out, and he's covering his face with his arms so he can't be seen, and he runs to a van or an SUV right nearby that's parked right there.
Okay, so bank day, taxi driver at night. She goes to a pickup. It's at the Sayville Motor Lodge on Sunrise Highway, and this is what happens.
She continues to flash her lights and beep her horn, and out comes a girl, crying, shaking, very upset, and gets in her car. There they talk for a while, and then eventually they drive to the Ronkonkoma Railroad Station so that this girl can go back in to New York City. This girl was a sex worker who was servicing the big man. This girl turns out to be Shannan Gilbert. Now, Shannan is lured into doing this particular tryst, and she's given an envelope or shown an envelope by the man that looked like it was stuffed full of money. And he tells her, there's $1,000 in there. It's for you and your family no matter what happens tonight. She looks in the envelope when he goes to the bathroom, and it's stuffed with paper. And so she panics and realizes something's wrong. So she goes in the bathroom, and he had become very aggressive, very angry. She goes in the bathroom, locks the door, and calls to get a cab. And that's how she comes out. They speak for over an hour. So the driver knows her well and notices that she has a drooping eye, which is characteristic of Shannan, and also a characteristic of her family, by the way, going back for a generation or two.
To John Ray, the chosen lawyer for Shannan Gilbert's family, and we're talking about Shannan Gilbert. Remember, all along, she was the first body that was found, but authorities kept saying, yeah, she's not connected. She's not connected. Well, apparently she is connected, because this cab driver distinctly remembers picking Shannan up from being with Rex Heuermann, right down to the drooping eye. To Dr. Kendall Crowns is joining me, Chief Medical Examiner, Tarrant County, Fort Worth. Never a lack of business there, Dr. Crowns. Lecturer, University of Texas, Austin, and TCU, Texas Christian University Medical School. Ptosis refers to a drooping eyelid. It means the upper eyelid falls to a position lower than the other. Is that genetic, Dr. Kendall Crowns?
It can have a genetic component to it. It can also be associated with trauma and medical conditions in which the neurological system is compromised, like in stroke.
To John Ray, high-profile lawyer for the family of Shannan Gilbert, you're saying that Shannan's family in the past also had the drooping eyelid?
Yes, I checked with the sister Cherie, and she mentioned that. So it was very consistent with the taxi driver's description. And there's no likelihood that the taxi cab driver saw that drooping lid from a picture, a recent picture, say, posted on television. But it's possible, I suppose. But I also vetted this woman, and Rodney Harrison, the police commissioner of Suffolk County himself, sat with me for almost 2 hours, vetting this woman's credibility as well. We did it together after I had already done it myself. So she's eminently qualified as a witness and a credible one, and her description fits Shannan to a T, even to the pulled back hair. For the, sex workers very often wear wigs, and Shannan was very much a user of wigs. So here she is coming out with her hair pulled back exactly as it would have been had she had a wig. So, everything about that this woman said was credible.
John Ray, I've been carefully going over literally dozens of photos of Shannan Gilbert. And what I notice is that very often she wears her hair in bangs that almost cover one eye. And when I first saw that, I thought it was just the style. Now I realize she may have been covering up or trying to cover up the drooping eyelid. Because, people often try to do their best to cover up.
I'm just going to let you know that's exactly what she was doing. That's what she was doing. She was trying to, cover her. I don't see the droopiness, but that's just coming from me. But I know that as a female that's, had vision problems, they took the thing out. So definitely have vision problems there. My eyelid, I have surgery like every other year. I'm not going to have a surgery this year, I don't think. Well, look at that. This time last year, I had an eye patch on, but I get a lower lid lift and I'll get an upper lid, whatever they do, but they'll lift and stuff. But it's a lot of money. Like, you can't just go to an an eye doctor, eye surgeon and say, fix my droop. I mean, you can, but they're going to say, well, that's $35,000 or something. And you're going to go, okay, just kidding. I'll just keep the droopy lid. So, hey, Paige, how are you? Welcome on in. So I think that's probably why she did have her hair like that. Because I told you, I don't do it as much anymore. I think my hair, I don't know where it's parted anymore, but I used to part it more off to the side, and it would kind of like a curtain, like over my eye in a way. But once COVID hit and we had to wear a mask, I had to kind of pull my hair out of my face so I could see with the one eye. And that's what made me kind of switch. But I think that if it was more prominent, if you could tell more, I would still wear my hair like that.
What they perceive to be an imperfection. Also, I've seen her in many different and very, very different hairstyles. And it's got to be wigs. I mean, in some of them, she has like her head is full of ringlets, and others it's completely different. I mean, clearly she's wearing wigs, like you say, and that after prosecuting a lot of cases involving sex workers, I wasn't prosecuting them. They were typically witnesses in cases, for me anyway. Wigs are part of the costume. And they're utilized on a daily basis. So now we finally get the Heuerman connection to Shannan Gilbert. I mean, John Ray, all along when authorities were saying there's no connection, she just happens to be dead along beside Rex Heuerman's other victims. Did you ever buy that?
It was the theory that the police espoused from the beginning was reduced to absurdity, and it still is. There isn't a scintilla of evidence that Shannan died other than by murder.
Yeah, the theory that she got upset with a different John and wandered out into the marsh and died. That died of what? There was never none of that ever made sense. And remember, they couldn't find her body when they were looking for her out in the marsh. Was she just disappeared? None of that made any sense. So that's 2 of the 4 witnesses. Dr. Kendall Crown's question to you, you've dealt with literally thousands of autopsies. When you're dealing with a serial killer, here we see not only the same MO, modus operandi, method of operation of disposing of the bodies, but we see the same type of manner of death, cause of death. Is that significant when you're trying to identify the perp, the manner of death?
So the manner of death is homicide, accident, natural suicide. Cause of death is probably what you're more referring to.
Yes.
Usually with causes of death, with serial killers, they do like to follow the same pattern. They kind of have a routine, so you will see similar methods of killing an individual, similar methods of binding. As far as identifying them, it's you can cluster the cases together, possibly get DNA from them, but you can get people that do copycat killings as well. So it doesn't necessarily identify them, but based on how they do it.
Who is the next witness? Take a listen to our 228.
The fourth witness comes from another state. She was a sex worker for many years. She said that she would service Rex Heuermann over 20 times, and that he was a serial user of sex workers. He would sometimes have them come 2 at a time to his house, and his wife was home upstairs, and in one instance got very angry at one of the sex workers because the wife believed that the worker had stolen an iron for ironing clothes, and had it in the car with the driver. So the driver had to get out. Everybody had to search the car. There was no iron, but the wife knew about it and knew about obviously what was going on in order for that to happen.
Wow. And last, take a listen to our friends at Crime Online.
The wife of Rex Heuermann has not been accused of any wrongdoing by police. They've even gone so far as to say they believe she was out of town when the murders of the Gilgo Four were committed. However, in an interview with the U.S. Sun, attorney John Ray points out he doesn't see how it's possible to ignore or refuse to investigate Asa Ellerup in light of the purported evidence he has uncovered. Interesting to point out, hairs belonging to Ellerup were found on at least 3 of the women helping lead detectives back to Heuermann.
To Mary Murphy joining us, investigative reporter who's been on the case from the get-go, PIX 11. Mary, thank you for being with us again. Got 2 questions for you. And the first one is about Asa Ellerup, the wife of Rex Heuermann. She has not been charged. She's not been named a person of interest. But many people have wondered how she could not know what was happening. That was explained away by the fact that many of Heuermann's meetings with sex workers were when she was out of town. This paints her in an entirely different light.
We don't know what kind of relationship Miss Ellerup had with her husband. We don't know the level of their intimacy. I can just tell you that when this indictment was announced back in July, the district attorney, Ray Tierney, took great pains to say he did not believe that the wife had any knowledge of what was going on. And even the police commissioner, Rodney Harrison, said he believed that Rex Heuermann was living a double life. I believe anything's possible. Perhaps there were sex workers that went to the house, but from what I'm gathering from the top law enforcement people on the case, they did not think she had any involvement. I just wanted to mention a couple of things. Rodney Harrison, the former police commissioner who just resigned last week, he was there for the vetting of the second witness that John Ray has met with. And while he said that he wanted to look at all of these witnesses, he didn't want to leave any stone unturned. It should be noted that he was very cautious at John Ray's press conference. He didn't give up much information. He just said they would look at this information. And it was significant, though, that he was there with John Ray. I had never seen anything like that in my career. He actually left police headquarters to join John Ray at his private attorney's office.
Well, I would not expect law enforcement to comment on potential witnesses at this juncture. But you're right. The fact that he's there with Ray, when Ray is making the statements about 4 new witnesses, speaks volumes. He doesn't have to say anything for me to see that he's standing there in solidarity with Ray. Also, we learned about another creepy, and I'm not through yet on these 4 witnesses, but another creepy fact has emerged. take a listen to our Cut 242 from investigative reporter Dave Mack.
Rex Heuermann was so obsessed about showing off his hunting skills to a female colleague that he stalked her onto a cruise ship. Mira Henriquez tells CBS 48 Hours that Heuermann asked her where she was going to be on her 40th birthday cruise. She told him, "I'm going to be in the middle of the ocean, and you're not going to be able to find me in the middle of the ocean." Heuermann told her, "Oh, yes, I can." On the second day of her birthday cruise, a white envelope was shoved under her cabin door. It was a note from Heuermann. The note said, "I told you I could find you anywhere."
Okay, that's completely irrelevant to the trial on multiple murders. But wow, I wish a jury could hear that, because it tells me volumes about Rex Heuermann himself. Mary Murphy, what is the significance of the Sayville Motor Lodge, where, according to one of these new witnesses, she made a pickup connected to Heuermann?
The first thing that I thought of when I heard Sayville Motor Lodge was the fact that just recently the feds locked it down, shut it down for good, because it was the scene of major sex trafficking over the years. And so when the allegation was made that Shannan Gilbert was there and that she had allegedly met Rex Heuermann there, I thought of all the human trafficking that was going on. Also, the date, John Ray in this affidavit, which was a sworn affidavit, noted that it was around 2009 in the fall. It would probably be September, October 2009 when this incident happened. And that was around the time earlier that summer that Melissa Barthelemy had disappeared. But she disappeared from the Bronx. She's one of the original Gilgo 4 found on Ocean Parkway in 2010. So it becomes an interesting part of the timeline. Melissa Barthelemy disappears in the summer of 2009. And then in September, October 2009, this taxi driver allegedly saw a woman she identifies as Shannan Gilbert with Rex Heuermann at the Sayville Motor Lodge.
To John Ray, lawyer for the Shannan Gilbert family, in my mind, this is the icing on the cake for the state.
Well, yeah, I suppose you could say so, but I just, you said that the with Miss Enriquez, the Heuermann's secretary, that the issue on the ocean cruise liner was irrelevant. It's not. Actually, Rex Heuermann, one of the items seized from him in the police inventory was survivalist equipment. Dr. Peter Hackett, who we have pinned as one of the people responsible for Shannan's death, ran a company called Survivalist Dynamic, and he ran it with a man who was a sea captain for cruise ships. And the chances that Hackett and Heuermann knew each other through this survivalist operation in Long Island are very strong. It's a very small group of people. They tend to connect with each other, meet with each other, etc.
Question, John Ray.
It wouldn't surprise me if there was a connection.
There may very well be a connection, and everything regarding tracking her down on a cruise ship may be true. But after all your years of trying cases, do you believe that evidence will come in a murder trial?
Not yet. Not
okay, and that is why
developed.
It would be deemed irrelevant in trial. Not irrelevant to who Rex Heuermann is. That's why I played it, because it tells me who he is. But it's not coming into trial because it has nothing to do with the victim, the Gilgo Beach victims. It tells me a lot about him, but a jury's never going to hear that, and I wish that they could. Dr. Joni Johnston joining me out of California. What do you make of what you've heard?
Well, I think there's so many interesting parts of this, and I'd have to agree with you, Nancy, that the whole issue of Rex Heuermann tracking down one of his employees just to show her that he has the power to know where she is at all times speaks volumes about his psychology. And one of the themes that has come up over and over in this case, and people talking about Rex Heuermann and looking at some of the pornography he allegedly was looking at, is this issue of sadism and getting pleasure out of causing other people discomfort or pain, and that is very consistent with that.
Robin Dreek, behavioral expert, former FBI special agent. What do you think?
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. He keeps displaying a very consistent arc of behavior of control, power, sadism, and he targets and grooms, fitting all the profiles of someone that would do this. All these witnesses coming forward, though, really it's helping the prosecution, I believe, like it's been stated. But at the same time, though, I keep coming back to we're seeing some law enforcement mishandling here as well. It really paints an interesting picture on what's been transpiring there.
Yeah, and that is going to play into the defense because of the fact that there has been police misconduct in the distant past, but it was during these investigations. That's all they need to argue this DNA is irrelevant, is planted, is tainted. They're going to use that. And that's why these eyewitnesses that John Ray, high-profile lawyers telling us about, become all the more significant because they corroborate the DNA. Mary Murphy joining us, Pix 11. Number one, the new body that has been found at Sunken Meadows is that of a young male. And it's believed it was a recent murder. Heuermann's in jail. He didn't do it. But you know why I think it's significant, Mary Murphy? Because the defense can now argue, see, the killer's still out there. It's not Heuermann. Can't you just see that unfolding in court, Mary?
Well, the first thing that I thought of when I heard about the body in Sunken Meadow State Park was, wow, could this be another victim? And, you know, I asked the police commissioner about that before he left office. He told me he did not think so. When I heard the name and when I heard the circumstances, I had to also think about the fact that there's a lot of gang activity and gang murders out in that area of Long Island in Suffolk County involving MS-13. We do not know the exact circumstances of the murder yet, but I was told that it was not connected to Gilgo.
Hey, Long Island serial killer prosecutors, listen, you better solve that case so the defense cannot use it at trial. We wait as justice unfolds. Heuermann back in court November 15.
Okay, Rex Heuermann back in court on the 15th. Looking forward to it. I've been, because before, I think it was, before today, really. This came out last night, I think. It was last night or the night before, and I listened to it today, but I was wondering before I listened to this when his next court hearing was going to be, because we hadn't really heard anything about him in a while. Is the Dateline good, Cheryl? I went over to Scotland and I kidnapped Isabel. Reba was like, what did we do to get Isabel? Reba's like, we must have did something good. Let me see what you guys were saying. I was looking to see if there was anything else. I didn't see anything else. Steve, you are cool. You're cool online, in person. I'm sure you're cool in person too, but I know you're cool online. And not even just in the chat, because we email back and forth. We all look a little differently, I think. I mean, shoot. If we were all the same, we'd be pretty boring. That's for sure. Candy's been sending me pictures of Donut, her dog. Anytime if I ever have a bad day, I'm going to go to Donut's Instagram and be like, just going to go have a laugh. I thought about doing that for my dog, for Mia, the gray one, because my brown dog, Araya, she don't really care for pictures, but Mia won't sit still either. I want to get her like a little jacket or something, though, something cute to wear. But hopefully you guys had a good chat tonight. There's not really too much more other than we kind of knew about the witnesses that come out because we had read their statements on our last live. So, and I'm wondering if Nancy was having some dental problems because she was kind of talking like a little weird tonight. Santa Paws. Oh my gosh, I bet you that's going to be cute. I say every year I'm going to get a really good Christmas picture of my animals and me and Vincent. We never, 8 years, not a one picture. He always gets the best ones. Like his selfies with the animals are the best. Like the cat will be laying on his back and he'll have like his face with the cat. Cat doesn't lay on me like that. That's like my kid if I had one. That doesn't do that with me. But this year I'm bound and determined to get a good picture. Donut is a Frenchie. I answer for because our dog's the cutest. The dog's name's Donut. I think with a dog named Donut, yeah, you're like, oh my gosh. She had about like what 15 Halloween costumes, I think it was. We pulled them up on the live one night. It was so cute. Which Nancy picture? Oh. Good night, Olivia. I should take our dogs to go get something, like to go get pictures taken somewhere, but I can't even take my dog to get her claws clipped. I am terrified. I need to just do it tomorrow. It's not like she needs them done so bad, but she's so scared of everything. Like, it's been a long time. It's been since she was like a puppy since we've taken her. It's been so long. Like, they don't bother her. They're not too long to where, like, they're like bothering her when she's walking. But we've bought every kind of like dog clipper you can buy to try to do it at home. So it's like easier on her. We even were going to buy like a lick pad, like put peanut butter on it. But I think she's smarter than that lick pad. But she's scared of everything. So we bought her like the little ones that like file down, but I think that noise is just too much. Mine's a big girl. If you're talking about, I don't know if you're talking about my dog or Candy, but my dog's like 80, 90 pounds. So, and she likes to sit on my lap. Like when we go to the vet, she has to sit on my lap. So I have to cross my, my leg over, kind of like men do, like in that shape. And so I can hold her like full size dog. And then people laugh. They just laugh. Because they have like these little chihuahuas and they're just sitting there like looking at her like they're fine. They don't need to be held, but my dog does. Your dog's from Ohio? I didn't know that. 23 pounds? No, she is a chunky girl. She is a chunky girl. She's a small girl. Like, she's short. Yeah, she's so scared. And so what happened was, and it's probably me too. I probably have PTSD because a lot of those places, they want you to drop your animal off. Like if you go to, what's over here? It's like PetSmart. If you go like PetSmart, they have like all those windows so you can like watch them, but they don't want you to like go back with them. And we used to have a dog. She passed unexpectedly, but we had a dog and her name was Ella. And that was like our kid, really. This dog was our kid. So we took her to get her nails clipped. And the first time we took her, it was fine, but they did the shaving. So I thought that was going to be easier on her, but the noise scared her. So we went to take her the second time and she didn't want to go back at all. And they were like, can you guys leave? And I'm like, what? They're like, can you like leave the area? And they had to end up like taking her, I guess, to this like timeout spot. And they had to like put a little muzzle on her. And I felt so bad for her. So I think it's like me too, which with Mia, I don't think Mia would bite. She's never bit, but I would tell them to muzzle her if you need to as long as she's fine, and clip her claws, because I wouldn't want them to get hurt because she's so strong. I think she would break the harness things that they put them in, like their little paws, to keep them down. I think she would break them. She's so strong. So strong. I've never had an animal like this. I mean, she literally. Okay, when we went to Delphi to go to the bridge, to go to Mona and High Bridge, we almost didn't even make it to the bridge because she pulled me. Vincent walked over to the car and she didn't notice it at first. So she turned around and she saw he was gone and she just took off. And I was holding her and I'm like, no, Mia, just stay with me. And she dragged me across the grass like it was nothing. Like I was like a rag doll. I could not believe that. She's never dragged me like that. I was like, she's got so much power. I got two of them too, two big dogs. Oh, see, I want a small dog so I could take it everywhere with me. My dogs are just so big. They have to use like a grooming muzzle. Yeah. See, that's what they would need for my dog, I think. Just because she's just so scared. And I think maybe if we took them both, she might do better. Because they won't even go out of the house without the other one. I don't even know how I would get them. Actually, I don't even know how I would get her down to the car without taking her sister with me. Like literally, they won't leave without each other. It's cute, but at the same time, it's like, hello. I love that we all have dogs. We have so many dogs that live around us now, though. It's crazy. Everyone needs to like keep them inside because I get so scared of just my dogs. I'm afraid that they're like going to get in a fight with another dog. Like Mia, she wouldn't, but Araya, my pit boxer, she certainly probably would. So I'm always on high alert when I'm with them, and I have one eye, so I'm always like this, and it's crazy. Yeah, both of mine will cry. Yeah, they broke one of their leashes one day, like the retractable leashes. So I did have a vehicle here, and I'm like, what do I do? So I was going to take them outside, like one each, like one at a time. I got Mia ready, took her out. She ran out to the door, turned around like she always does. Like she does like this with her paw, like stretches them out. And she's waiting for her sister. And I was like, she's not coming. She can't come. So I went to go like take her outside. She would not go outside. I'm like, okay, then. So I brought her in, tried to do the same thing with Araya. Araya walked out, looked back like, no. And I'm like, what do I do? So crazy. They sleep with us, Aldo. Yes, they try. Mia used to have to sleep in the pillows, which was really bad. We didn't sleep good for like 3 years. She would sleep in the pillows. Now we finally got her. She has a bed and everything, but heaven forbid. So normally Araya will sleep up here, Mia's down here, and then the cat will be laying over on the other side of me because he insists on coming up now too. Again, he used to always come up, and now he's up there again. So it's a whole family thing. Have you seen? Let me see if I can find a picture of Donut real quick before I get off here because I know I got me a picture. I know I do. Okay. Let me see here. Donut. Oh, is it? I'm trying to remember. There is it. Is it this one? Yeah. Okay. I know that I have 2 emails for you. I think it's like when you won the contest one time. This is the one that you sent me the last time. I'll show this one because this one was really cute. You sent me this. I was like, I needed this. I needed this picture of Donut. And you did say that Donut got in trouble or Donut rubbed or rolled around in some dirt or something. You were saying, or leaves. Look at that face though. That's such a cute face. Isn't that cute? Donut is going to become famous. Donut has an Instagram. I'm gonna start marketing Donut's Instagram like we did for Murphy last year. Murphy had he got over 100,000 subscribers. Little Murphy dog did. That's so funny. I know my dog is so dirty. They need baths. They're getting baths tomorrow because my dog likes to go out and her back's always dry. Like she just has dandruff a little bit. I need to get like some oil or something for her. But she likes to roll in the grass and it's just her thing. And I'm like, dang it. But I always wash our sheets and blanket every day. I wish I didn't have to, but Donut's at almost 5K. What? Donut, man. Donut has more than me over there on Instagram. Look at that face, though. That face is so cute. Like, if anyone's ever having a bad day, come back to this live and just look at that dog's face smiling. That's a happy dog. That's a happy dog. Wizard said my dog weighs 6 pounds but takes 75% of my bed. That's how dogs do. And then our dog will usually, the older one will jump off. She'll go on her bed. And then Mia will get down and then she'll end up coming up on Vincent's side. She's been wanting to lay just beside him for some reason. And I'm cool with that. I'm cool with that. There's your daily dose of Donut. I'll have to get some pictures of my animals. I actually had one on my phone the other day, and I was like, oh, I have to save this for you guys because all of my pictures are true crime. If anyone ever goes through my phone, they're going to think that they're going to be like, what's wrong with this girl? My brother had a 3-pound dog. It was a little toy poodle. Now he has bullies, American bullies. Very weird. Very very different. But I'm going to jump off of here. We've been on here for 2 hours. Wow. Didn't think it was that long. But it's Friday, so Vincent can stay up a little bit later. I'll make him stay up with me. But I will see you guys all tomorrow. I still want to get some, I want to get creators together or just do it by myself, but do like the last year on YouTube, just like things that we've learned, things that we've done, and do it with mods and the subscribers and just do like an open panel. So maybe we could do it. If I can't do it by this weekend, maybe we can do it next weekend because I want to give people time to think of things they want to talk about and say. But I think it'd be a really good stream. But I will be back on tomorrow night with you guys. We have, I do have that podcast episode from Idaho that I keep forgetting to play for you guys. So we could play that, or maybe I'll come on and we'll do like a little story time. We'll do something. It will make it a good life. But I'll be on tomorrow, and I will see you guys all then. Have a good evening. Take care of yourself. Lock your doors. Don't go driving around picking anybody up. Don't get on Craigslist. That's my advice for tonight. All right. Bye, guys. Have a good evening.